Hey, what's going on, folks? Forest Green here. Today, I'm here to talk about existence erasure. This is another hacks video because I think you guys are enjoying my series and I think it's very informative. So now there's two versions of existence erasure. There's the basic form of existence erasure, which I shall break down during this video, and I shall talk about the conceptual existence erasure, which is more of the higher degree of existence erasure, the more kind of complex stuff, which I'll explain as I go on. So without further ado, let's go. So what is existence erasure? Existence erasure is basically and fundamentally erasing someone from existence. Now, this pretty much trumps any basic version of, like, pulverizing someone, destroying someone, atomically, or vaporizing someone. This is like that is an existence erasure, just in case. That's more of a attack potency. The person's existence still there despite the fact that they are destroyed. So I'm gonna explain to you guys like the different forms of existence erasure. Now, physical erasure, for example, like getting your body erased from existence, what usually tends to happen is you become a non-corporeal being. So you become formless, your soul lives on, and you are essentially a ghost. Now, there are some existence erasure that will attack your soul and your body, and there's some existence erasures that will attack your mind, body, and soul, so they get rid of all three elements of you. Now, what tends to happen when existence erasure occurs, it affects the reality that you are currently living in. It affects everyone around you who know you. So what tends to happen, for example, like there's a game called, I think it's a game and an anime, shout out to Frisk, it's called Corpse Party. A lot of existence erasure and conceptual erasure happens in that game. So what tends to happen, basic existence erasure, is people don't remember who you are. They tend to lose their memories of you. Well, not lose, but the memories get erased, essentially. Pictures, portraits, like for example, if Forest Green was erased from existence, any portraits or pictures that I was in, usually what happens is my face would be blacked out, or there'd be a silhouette of my form, and people would be like, have I seen this guy from somewhere? I don't know who this guy is. What the fuck is this guy doing in this picture? So that's just an example of like basic existence erasure. And existence erasure isn't like 100% like the end all be all. So there's people who there'd be a lot of people who may not remember you, but there could be that one person who has a higher awareness and they still know your existence, but you are gone. So that's just an example of like existence erasure, like basic. Now I'm going to talk about the conceptual shit. This conceptual shit is like higher degree of existence erasure. Now, what is conceptual existence erasure, or conceptual erasure, or whatever you like to say? Now, instead of just attacking the mind, body, and soul, what happens is your concept, your whole identity, you as a being, and everything you stand for is erased. Your concept gets erased. So what happens when your concept gets erased? Now, this is like the more depressing and scary part. Now, if you are erased on a conceptual level, you cease to exist on all planes of existence. Everything is gone. Your concept is gone. You were never a factor. Never ever. You are gone. Now, back to my example of Corpse Party, where when I mentioned, like for example, like Forest Green, like I mentioned before, basic existence erasure. If you were in portraits or like pictures, and say like I was just blacked out or my face was scribbled out. Now, if you were conceptually erased, you're not in those pictures. You are gone. You don't exist. Like, this is like some higher potency of existence erasure. You will never be remembered or even conceived in the mind. That is what conceptual existence erasure is. It's not. It's it trumps like fodder erasure. Now, the reasons why I talk about this last is because a lot of people don't know about you know conceptual erasure, and I figured that this would kind of help people kind of understand that this does exist. But yes, folks, that's pretty much it in terms of like existence erasure and how it gets down. I'm going to talk about the various abilities. There is like a fat laundry list, so I'm not going to really go too deep. In fact, I'll leave a link in the description for you guys to check out if you guys want to check all of them out. But I'll give you the basics. So what usually happens is there's many Haxes of existence erasure. The common one is like Dragon Ball Z. There's characters that can use the Hakai, which erases I think it erases your mind, your body and your soul. I'm not 100% about the mind, but it is a potent existence erasure. There's characters who can use their chi to erase your spirit. There's, for example, like Topo, he can coat himself in this aura, this chi aura where he's basically a walking existence erasure dude, giving off mad existence erasure energy. That is an example. There's people who can, steal your existence. There's people who can erase your existence by simply just thinking, just by a thought, who can just, they'll just be like, I want him gone. Like, this is like high degree of like, of existence erasure. You usually see this stuff from like multiversal, or if not, outerversal characters or hyperversal characters or universal characters, but this is like a high degree of existence erasure just by conjuring a thought of someone, just getting rid of them, their consciousness or whatever they stand for in terms of existence. There's people can, there's different ways people can take your existence away from you, like nothingness, like void manipulation or nothingness manipulation, just taking it away from you. There's the other version as well, where people can just ravage your timeline. For example, this kind of goes into acausality, which I'll probably might talk about soon. But basically, the whole basic, everyone knows about this, where if you go back into the past and you kill someone in the past, it fucks up their present and future. So what happens is, because you destroyed someone's origin point in the past, their presence in the past, so their presence in their presence in the present and the future no longer exist. This happens also in like Dark Chronicles, which is a good game as well. But yes, those are the things I can think of currently in terms of existence erasure. There's many other methods of erasing someone from existence. Those are just a few. Now I'm going to give you my pros and cons. Now the pros is like the basic obvious one is, you just got rid of that person. They don't exist in that time frame no more. They're completely gone. It can help in certain situations. So say, for example, like it's kind of malicious, but if you hated someone so much and you just wanted them gone from existence and you just erase them, it affects the reality around you and everyone. So people would just forget about that person. So again, in certain scenarios where if you wanted someone gone, that is a sufficient way of getting rid of someone, because, existence erasure is a very potent way of dealing with someone because they don't exist. Number two is, what's good about existence erasure is there aren't a lot of characters that have resistance to existence erasure. So this tends to work on like characters who are fodder or characters who just don't have any form of resistance to protecting themselves from being erased from existence. So it is a very good tactic. Again, conceptual stuff, it's the like top tier characters. The only top tier characters I know who have resistance to that shit is like Superman and some other DC or Marvel characters. Conceptual stuff is like very rare to find like characters who have resistance to protecting their conceptual existence. So that is another pro, because it's there's not a lot of good ways to protect yourself from being erased. It gets past conventional protection like durability, and all sorts of and all that kind of nonsense. Now, onto the cons. Again, there aren't really too many cons. Now, the only con I'd say is, the person can protect themselves from being erased if they have resistance. So if you can't erase them, then that's a problem. That's a method that doesn't work. So you're gonna have to come up with something else because you couldn't erase them. Number two, there's characters that have like acausality. So acausality is basically like, there's people who can be unaffected by, their origin point from being ruined. For example, like say if you went into the past, as I mentioned, and say you tried to kill someone in the past and you think killing them in the past would affect their present and future. There's characters that are completely immune to that. There's characters that can continue to live in the present or future, regardless of if their past or present timeline or their origin point was erased or ravaged. It won't affect them. So that's another con of existence erasure. Again, there's people who can be completely unaffected by those conventional means of getting rid of them, by getting rid of their past and present side. So that is another con of existence erasure. But yes, folks, thank you all for watching. I know this video was kind of long because existence erasure is kind of a mouthy topic to talk about because it's kind of complex. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If I missed anything, just let me know down in the comment section and inform others. But yes, folks, like, comment, and subscribe. See you folks next time. Peace.